Hi everybody, I'm Carolina journalist Theresa Opeka. Here in the studio today with me we have Jack Clark. He is one of the Republican nominees for state auditor. Welcome, Jack. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah.
So we're going to have the May 14th runoff primary coming up, and I'm going to get to know Jack a little bit better and hear his qualifications. And we're going to start off with, so tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, grew up, your family. We want to get to know you a little bit better.
So I'm the oldest of five, which makes me the responsible one. I'm originally from DC, but I escaped the swamp as soon as I possibly could. Did my undergrad at Duke, grad school at UNC, where I got a master's in accounting, then went on to get my CPA license, work in public accounting for a bit, then switched over into a private company and did internal audit for a little while, and now I work for a budget chair in the General Assembly. So I've seen the budget process and I know how to audit, which kind of gives me the best experience for this role.
Yeah. So you got a lot of interesting background when it comes to the position. So have you held any civic offices before or anything like that as far as that goes? Or
No, I had some nice cushy jobs in the private sector before deciding to enter the wild world of politics, which I've only been in for just over a year.
Mm-hmm. Hasn't scared you off yet?
No. I'm running statewide, so if that doesn't scare me off, then nothing will.
Right, exactly. Okay. So bottom line, why are you qualified, Jack, to run for office?
I was the only one who filed in any office who actually had a career in auditing. I think it's really important. Auditing is a very niche role with a very particular skill set and mindset that you need in order to audit right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt North Carolina deserved to have a choice of someone who had that background. So I think that's why I've been pitching my audit background. I was, again, the only one who even filed, and so still in the runoff. But that's what North Carolina deserves.
Yeah, okay, all right. So if you're elected, what would your first order of business be?
It would be to do a full analysis of prioritizing what needs to be audited. A lot of candidates come in with preconceived notions about what they want to audit, but I figure if you don't have all the information, you can't possibly make the right decision. And so I'm going to go in there. The previous incumbent was there for 15 years, so there's going to be blind spots. There's going to be things that were overlooked, and so trying to figure out those areas is going to be a big priority. And to a lesser extent, but still importantly, having someone be the boss for 15 years, there can be some pretty top-heavy leadership, which happens after a while. So I'm going to come in as kind of more of a player's coach. I'm younger. I'm more in tune with the staff. I understand what auditors go through, so I'm really going to try to relate to the staff in that office to kind of change the culture.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's any departments or agencies that you should look at first? You've been getting more familiar with the General Assembly and things going on here in the Capitol. Anything you think should be looked at first?
Yeah, so I'm not campaign promising on looking at anything first, but I've heard a lot about election integrity. And so I think the Board of Elections is probably a good candidate. Some other people have brought DOT, DMV. Those are definitely some good candidates. I know one of my opponents pledged to audit all 100 school boards across the state, and that would take way too much time. I think auditing a couple school boards and hoping that the improvements we make there can spread out to the rest of the counties. That's really one thing I'm going to focus on, is if we just audit a couple areas and then anything we find, anything we try to institute there kind of makes its way more broadly, then that really saves the auditor a lot of time and helps the state out.
Okay. What do you think has been working well for Jessica Holmes? She only took over a little while ago, and also maybe her predecessor, Beth Wood. Do you think the qualities or what aspects of the office have been really well, and what hasn't worked, in your opinion?
Well, Beth Wood ran that department like it was a private firm.
Mm-hmm.
She really had a lot of experience and background in auditing. She was a CPA, really focused on getting a lot of talent into that office and having things run smoothly. So I think the current auditor is kind of letting those things play out. You know, there were a lot of audits that were going on, so I think she's being smart to stay out of the way a lot. But she doesn't have that background in auditing. She's a lawyer, and I just don't know how you can go into that office and really understand what staff and management is telling you, and kind of help direct, help set the tone for the audits. I'm not really sure how you do that with without having a pretty strong audit background.
Right, right. And are there any areas you feel in state government that are wasting taxpayers' money right now? Have you just gotten a little bit of an inkling about that?
Everywhere. I mean, if I promised to audit everywhere that needs auditing, it would take me 1,000 years to audit all those places. And because it happens in private companies, no matter how strong a finance department somewhere has, there's going to be waste. There's going to be stuff going wrong. And so I'm not focused so much on targeting specific areas, although I'll use all the risk factors at my disposal. But my focus is to leave everywhere better off than I found it, because I want to put in controls and procedures that help prevent fraud and waste. Because it does no one any good to go in there and sweep out the fraud and waste and then just leave the same situation for the next people to do the same thing. That doesn't help people long term, and so my thought is to help long term. But there's the more money that goes into somewhere, the more of it's going to be kind of questionably spent, and so making sure that that everywhere kind of tightens up their controls is going to be a big piece of the office.
Sure. One final question: why should someone vote for you?
Because I'm the only candidate who filed with the accounting background, and I'm there to make North Carolina the best run state in the country. I know, because I've done this at my previous jobs, be it auditing billion-dollar public companies or small startups with no revenue. I've performed SOX readiness testing in private companies, so I know how to look at a process and make sure that there are the right controls in place. I've done all this in my audit career. I'm the only candidate who's done that, and so I think that's going to really set me up well to have a real positive impact in the auditor's office.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much, Jack Clark. He is one of the Republican nominees for state auditor in the May 14th primary. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.